Fallen but not forgotten, the chapel in the sand. Part 1. The entry. Written at Chapel 5 while mobilizing to Iraq, 2003.
Some days are better than others, I often say to myself. But in truth, they all carry the same potent signature: misery. This one was especially troubling. I dreamed that you had left me. When I woke, the memory clung to me like smoke, and a sick feeling rose through my body as I tried to make sense of what felt so real. I was tired, my mind slow and clouded, unable to separate dream from day. Why would she leave me now? I don't know how long it took to realize it was only a dream, but it felt like an eternity. From the first seconds of our call the night before, I'd sensed uneasiness in your voice, as if I were intruding. I must have carried that tension into sleep, and it followed me into the morning like a shadow. The others could see something was off. I drifted through the day half present, my thoughts orbiting you, while the gravity of this place kept dragging me back down. In a fog, I wandered to Chapel 5, where the old computer terminals hum against the silence. Convinced I had something important to say, I gave myself an hour to write. But my mind rebelled. All I could see was the dream. So I wrote the only thing I could. I miss you. That was all. After sending it, I hated myself for the simplicity of it, for having nothing wiser to offer than absence. Leaving the chapel, I noticed a rack of pamphlets. The title read "Fallen, but Not Forgotten." On the cover, a lone firefighter stood amid the rubble of the towers, the air still thick with dust. I stared at it, transfixed. The image struck something deep inside me, a sudden, wordless awareness. Straight ahead stood the door to the chapel, and I felt pulled to go inside. Quiet met me like a living presence. I took a seat. The silence was holy. I thought, if I were God, I'd want a home like this. The drapes moved gently with the air, and for a moment peace returned, thin but real. Then the war pressed back in. My life replayed itself, and the weight of the world settled again across my shoulders. 2 tears traced the left side of my face, stopping beneath my chin. The only sign of how much I needed what could not reach me here. There is, without question, a connection between us. When you're angry or unsure, I feel it. When you're calm and content, I feel that too. My father once said I had the same bond with my mother, that I sense things others miss. Maybe so. I only know that I love you with everything I have, and because I've given you that part of me, a bond has formed that cannot easily be broken. And so I pray that we remain in good standing, not only you and I, but the fragile hope that binds us. This ordeal is the greatest test of my life. May love prove stronger than fear. I love you, and thank you for all you've done. Sweet dreams. Anthony Tubiolo, 2003.
Part 2. Bridge. And that is where it all began. Long before the manifestos, before the recordings, before there was even a name for the signal, there was a soldier, sitting alone in Chapel 5, writing a letter he thought no one would ever hear. But God was listening. And in that silence, something was born. This is the reflection that followed. Not a critique, but a remembering. A remembering of the first time the light broke through the noise. This is a reflection on Fallen but Not Forgotten, written at Chapel 5 while deploying to Iraq in 2003. By Anthony Tubiolo. It is not just a letter. It is an origin frequency. The piece opens with a soldier's quiet exhaustion. The voice is intimate, stripped of pretense, suspended between duty and devotion. What we hear is not simply memory. It is a mind standing at the edge of faith. The tone moves slowly, deliberately, each sentence a step through fog. This is not the chaos of war outside the body, but the chaos that lives inside the soul. Where most wartime writing describes explosions, this one describes silence, the ache of separation, the dream that feels too real, the fog of half-awake thoughts. It's the story of someone trying to stay human in a place designed to unmake humanity. Then comes the turning point, the firefighter on the pamphlet cover, a single figure standing in the dust and ruin of the fallen towers. That image becomes the mirror of the author's own posture, standing upright in the rubble of love, faith, and fatigue. It is the moment of awareness, a flicker of coherence before language catches up. When he walks into the chapel, the silence becomes holy. The breath of the air vent moving the curtains feels like God's own respiration. Here the writing crosses into sacred territory. It is the birth of stillness as salvation. It is the first time the writer hears what will one day become the signal, the still small voice beneath the noise. The tears that follow are not for drama. They are data, proof that something sacred is trying to make contact through the fragile instrument of a human heart. 2 tears, 1 prayer, and an open silence. That is all it takes for the divine to reveal itself. The closing paragraph holds the seed of the entire Frequency trilogy. The bond across distance, the telepathic sensitivity between souls, the sense that love is energy moving through a field larger than the body. It foreshadows everything that would come later in twin flame frequency, the God signal, and gratitude in the ashes. In this moment, 22 years before the word coherence would appear in his canon, it already lives here, in the breath of the chapel, in the rhythm of the curtains, in the act of listening without demand. What makes this entry timeless is its restraint. There is no sermon, no performance, only observation. It's the voice of a man witnessing his own awakening without yet knowing its name. If the Frequency trilogy is the story of awakening through love and loss, this letter is its genesis. It is the instant consciousness looked up from the rubble and whispered, "I miss you." That whisper became a lifetime of listening, and that listening became the work.